Hello all. Welcome to another episode of Inslee Insights, our video series where we showcase some of the stories with our customers. Today, funnily enough, I'm actually in Barcelona, in Spain, not in London, where I'm joined by the lovely Alex Cuadros from Alta Signa. Welcome, Alex. How's things?
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Yeah, things are going well. Lovely. I'm excited to share that interview with you.
Yeah, maybe it's a good place. A good place to start would be for you to introduce yourself, your role, and tell us a little bit more about Alta Signa as well.
Yeah, so I'm the Alta Signa IT manager, acting as the CIO, and I've been in the insurance industry for a long time. Almost in all my career. Previously at Accenture, where I had like 16 years of experience in large implementation, always in the insurance industry. And then recently, the last 10 years, I've been in MGAs. So prior to working at Alta Signa, I was in another MGA. And last 2 years, I joined Alta Signa, and because we had some challenges, and I thought that I could help to do that transition, and this is where I am now. So very excited.
Great, good stuff, and good to hear more about your background and what kind of led you to Alta Signa as well. So Alta Signa is a specialist insurance provider for predominantly continental Europe, and the specialities within kind of the business are management liability, professional indemnity, crime and cyber insurance. So Alex, if you would be so kind to explain maybe some of the reasons behind those focus areas, top level, maybe why they exist and how they came around, that would be very useful for me and for the audience as well.
Right. So Alta Signa was founded by Gerard Van Loon, which is our CEO. He has a vast experience in that market, and he has been working with this line of businesses for a long time. He has obviously an actuarial background, and these kind of products are very tailor-made, and his vast experience within these products is what he made. He had some capacity from carriers, and he decided to move on and create Alta Signa because he wanted to be like a boutique. He wanted to create a boutique for this kind of insurance, and this is where we are right now. So basically, that was one of the reasons why Alta Signa was created.
Great. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I think when you've got that experience, especially in a niche, you can be a really big player within the niche,
right? Because
you have the experience. So I think
he is a think tank in that industry. Is known everywhere, and he wanted to be the CEO. He wanted to create his own company, and just spread his knowledge around him with all of us, and we are learning a lot in the journey. So it's being a very interesting role and interesting position at the company, and we are learning a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes complete sense. And now maybe we can zoom in a little bit to yourself as kind of CIO. Mm-hmm. Obviously, at the moment, Alta Signa is using Inslee's insurance software, but maybe it's worthwhile kind of explaining the story behind or the trigger point of what kind of led you to search for insurance software, maybe the backstory and a little bit about the process it's taken you to get on board with Inslee as well.
Yeah, sure. So basically when Alta Signa was founded, we developed a custom-made cloud platform as operating system. And so it was like a kind of jumpstart for us to start operating. Yeah. However, over time, this platform was not covering all the business processes that we need to cover, and had no, it hadn't achieved actually the level of automation that we need. And so that was mainly one of the reasons why we decided to move on and look for something a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And that when we started to look for other possibilities as operating systems. And the main trigger was to cover other areas, such as, for example, reporting or claims module or accounting or all that kind of stuff. So the underwriter process, I wouldn't say from data perspective is more or less capturing the same kind of data, but in terms of processing is a way better. So that's why we were searching for a more efficient process in the underwriting side, especially. So
Absolutely.
that was the main trigger for us to move on.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense, and a lot of other Instantly customers, they also have similar reasons as well. They either build something in house. It can get quite clunky and doesn't have that kind of processing or automation processing. So underwriters and everyone kind of within the business gets slowed down a little bit. So I think I think that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And maybe did you kind of set out any specific objectives, or was it more kind of general? You want to be able to do more, you want to be able to move faster. Was that kind of the general consensus behind the decision?
Yeah. So more than specific metrics, what we said was, okay, we want an operating platform that will allow us to time to market.
Yeah.
So each time that we are introducing a new product, that could be configured relatively quick. Also, as I said, in the internal processing or our internal processes had to be covered more efficiently. So we wanted to have something that it would move faster than our previous platform. And at some point, what we were looking for is something flexible. So in that environment we are operating, it's quite dynamic. That means that tomorrow someone might send some requirement for better assess or better track our portfolio exposure, for example. And then we need to include these elements or that new data into the platform.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have something flexible and quick. And we found that the product schema, or how Instantly, for example, has been designed using product schema and the technology that lies behind, it was better serving that target.
Yeah.
So in the end, what we were looking for was, okay, let's find something more efficient, more flexible, where we can better assess our risks, that we could even do more accurate pricing, and ultimately that we can plug our products in a more efficient way.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think, the product schemas is quite useful, obviously, when you're launching multiple products.
Right.
And you want to launch as quick as possible.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a template or a base of where to kind of start.
It's like
from,
a jump start,
so.
where you can start putting things on top.
Yeah.
And customize your product as you want.
Yeah, and in a way, it probably saves you a little bit of time starting from scratch as well, right?
Absolutely.
So that makes complete sense.
That's time to market, yeah.
Yeah.
That is ultimately what we're looking for.
Yeah, great. And one thing that I've noticed in a general kind of capacity across the industry is, and some of our customers and some people in the wider industry, they obviously kind of we're moving more in a world now towards automation, towards towards kind of speed of market or whatever it might be. We're moving faster in the world, and I think automation has a really big part to play in that. It helps us to get things done faster, whether it's personally or in business or whatever it might be. But one thing that I've noticed is when you have very kind of specialist or niche lines, I would say, like the ones which Alta Signa operates in, automation can be quite tricky to implement. And I think maybe a reason for that, and maybe you can elaborate in a little bit more detail, is because there are lots of steps that need to happen within those niche lines. There may be more checks to do. There may be more processes that are added in from a compliance perspective. So what is your kind of opinion on that in automation when it comes to specialist or niche lines?
I mean, you brought it, you have it completely right. So in this kind of insurance products, the underwriting process is especially complex. It takes a while until you receive a submission, and then you can actually convert it into a policy.
Yeah.
And so there are so many steps that need to be taken, and with a very concrete methodology that is written down in underwriting guidelines that are signed off by our carriers. So the carriers before giving you any authority, they want to know and ensure through these underwriting guidelines that you are covering the required steps. Okay, so we need to be very transparent, and we need to keep track of a lot of documents that prove that we are following those steps. And so in that context, we cannot fully automate from end to end the process, because obviously we are not in the property and casualty market, but we can just take some of these. We can take off some of these steps and automate them through the platform. That's really a very good gain for the underwriters, because we are making their life a lot easier. For example, the risk analysis, that's really important, because this is one of the steps where they spend much more time. And at the moment, for example, we have integrated with a service data provider a powerful tool into Inslee. And that risk analysis is much more smooth than it was previously. And also this is linked also with the pricing tool. So the pricing and the risk analysis are, for me, one of the most complex steps, and we have done to integrate them into the platform. So that's a big gain for them.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if they are, for example, having back and forth with the brokers or with third parties, that's something that it's
that's the relationship element.
Exactly,
of it,
that's
right?
a relationship element we cannot automate.
Of course.
But maybe with AI at some point, I don't know. But at the moment, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But absolutely, these kind of things, for example, are also reporting is very important. The fact of having, for example, quick dashboards that the underwriters can just see or check in real time where they are, or where we are, or how are they performing, or all of this kind of stuff, which is more data driven. This is absolutely very helpful for them to do their work.
Yeah, absolutely. So a dashboard that probably lets you see your premiums,
right,
claims submitted,
the hit ratio,
claims processed,
the claims exposure. I mean, the claims ratio, the loss ratios. I mean, they can even better analyze the management of so for example, what are they doing, or if they are line of businesses or jurisdictions, or there are a lot of elements that can be more profitable than others. They can focus exactly on and find trends, market trends. Where they can just stay more focused on these market trends, or on those elements that are more profitable for the company.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you can aspire to reach a certain ratio or exposure, for example, you kind of know what the industry average is or the average for your specialty lines.
Exactly.
Then at least you have a benchmark. You're either over, you're
Right.
under. It gives you some kind of area for improvement. But I think you hit the nail on the head. You said obviously it's a data-driven approach, right?
Correct.
Which is what we all aspire
That's
to
very
be doing.
important for us. That's what we wanted to have, something flexible, that at some point we can add more elements if we need to,
Yeah.
and that we can just move quickly to that, implement those new elements or whatever needs to be very quickly, and also that we can add those elements then in the back in our reporting tools,
Yeah.
so that we can just flash them online into the platform.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned earlier on in your answer as well about the integrations piece. I think that's quite, well, it's probably better to get your opinion on it, but I think that's quite important when you have a piece of software to be able to plug in with other pieces of software
Right.
that do something really, really well, because then you have the advantage of kind of your core system and then all of the other things that can plug in and even make it stronger, right?
Right.
So how do you kind of find the integration experience?
So it's no, the integration experience went well because we are just integrating through APIs. I'm not saying anything new with that.
Okay.
That's the standard practice in the market. So what I find important about that is that we are not living in an isolated world, and there are a lot of good products out there in the market. So if we can just pick best in class and create the ecosystem that it's best serving to our business interests, that's very important. So the ability to easily connect through other actors or other pieces of data or other service data providers or whatever, the connectivity in general, it's a key point for us in this actual world.
Yeah.
Because, as you see, everything is driven by data.
Absolutely.
And we need to be always ready to get connected to other actors if we need to.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes complete sense. And then from like an evaluation perspective, I think the industry as a whole for MGA software, it is quite competitive. It's quite a competitive space. So I imagine if we're going back a little bit now again, when you were kind of evaluating different solutions or providers in the market, that must have been quite a long process to actually find out how much a piece of software or a company that provides that software can actually do, right? Mm-hmm. So what was that evaluation process like for yourself and for Alta Signa?
Yeah, it was very exciting at the time that it was long. It was not an overnight decision, obviously, as you can imagine. We were evaluating a lot of aspects within each platform that we were assessing. And then we were, obviously, the main triggers or the main functions that we want to find in this new operating system, it was something like, yes, as you said before, automation, obviously, then that it would cover a high-level percentage of our business processes, and then that we could also have better reporting capabilities, that we could have some time to market in the sense that if we were introducing new line of businesses, these could be
launched quickly.
Yeah. And obviously, when we were just contacting Ainsley and we were on the engaging process, we saw some demos that we were basically, I'm honest, we were impressed, because we could see that, for example, the rating tool could be, it is something that is very complex, that lies in Excel spreadsheets with complex formulas. It was demoed, or it was demonstrated through demos that they could configure it. Also with the documentation, we've got a lot of documents we need to produce, and they were all, we gave them a few templates and they could configure them. Mm-hmm. And then we saw the underwriting process that we could also add new elements or even sections within the product schema, and it could be added not instantaneously but very quickly. And so yeah, I mean, in the demos, they caused us a very good impression. That's the reality. If I'm honest, it was like that.
Yeah.
Also, we were looking for remarks within the industry. All the remarks that we found, it was very positive. Very important. We wanted to find someone or any company that could help us to do that transition, which was an experienced operator in the market. So Ainsley, obviously, it was, because he had a wealthy experience in the market with other MGAs. So so from all of these, let's say, targets or objectives, we were quite satisfied, or we were very confident that we could meet all of them with that new operating platform, like it's been demonstrated later on.
Yeah.
Because basically we were just looking for a new operating platform that would give us, as I said, more automation, especially on these steps that I have mentioned before, pricing tool, risk analysis, documentation, all of that. And we found that Ainsley could cover these targets, we decided to move on and pick Ainsley as our operating system. Yeah. But it was a long process. It was not something that happened overnight.
Yeah, there's a long checklist of things you need to go through, right?
No, for more than 6 months. So yeah.
And it's a big decision that will probably last your Alta Signa for kind of obviously
because
years to come. Right?
You don't change the operating platforms. It's something that doesn't happen every day. So it's from time to time
it's an important decision
in the course of the life cycle of a company.
Yeah.
So it was a very big decision.
Yeah, makes complete sense. And I think you're one of our kind of customers who uses kind of the full cycle, I think is the correct word to use, of the insurance software. So what I mean by full cycle is, I know there might be different terms in the industry, is kind of the underwriting platform element, the accounting and reporting element as well, and the claims handling and the claims management kind of side of things as well. Mm-hmm. So we have quite a modularized approach at Ainsley, where we can offer either just one of those things or two of those things or all of those things together. I think you probably reap the full amount of the extent of the capabilities that Ainsley can do, because you have underwriting, accounting, claims all kind of covered, right? What was kind of your experience of kind of onboarding when it came to not just one of those things, but all of those things in combination? Did you find it was easier because you could do you could map out the process, or was it more difficult because it made it quite longer? What was that like for yourself?
No, so I only have good words with the people I'm working with, especially in Ainsley, and because they just made the process very easy from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So of course it was a phase where we were just capturing the requirements and just writing down our requirements, our business processes, etc.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, then we were just discussing how to fit them together into the platform. And of course, our data model is quite particular. So in some aspects, it hasn't been easy to fit all of them. But the process, I mean, we had a very fluent communication since the very beginning with the technical architects and project managers at Ainsley and all that stuff. And so, of course, at some point during the implementation, I'm not going to say that it was everything perfect. It was very good. It was smooth. And we had to face with technical difficulties when we were trying to fit everything.
Yeah.
But in the end, the result has been really good. We are so excited about the change and about how things are going. Of course, we still have room for include other features and functions and new capabilities. That's something that we are going to continue doing so on the near future. But the rollout went really well. We did also, prior to that, the migration from the last. Migration is always a very difficult topic, and it normally ends up being a mess.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. No, in that case, I can say that I can assure you that the migration, it was excellent. It was done in just one shot. We built the scripts, we prepared the data, and then the data was uploaded directly into the new platform. It was a matter of the execution of the process. It lasted like 8 hours, something like that. Then we did all the regression tests and everything. We didn't find any important issues.
Yeah.
And we were so excited because we could go roll out the new platform the 1st of October as it was planned. So we had no further delays than that date. So
and what about the team's experience as well? Because obviously you will have obviously a lot of end users of the actual platform itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I guess there's an element of kind of change management within the organization as well. So they would be kind of moving away from the first system that you had, the custom built one, to this one as well. Sometimes managing change is quite difficult, but for the end user, obviously their experience is maybe a little bit different to yours, right? You're involved in the kind of the deeper end of things. So
I mean, managing people is very difficult topic, and if on top of that you are adding a new platform, a new process, sometimes it's difficult. But I think that we involved them to some degrees during the UAT, and they could become familiar with the platform, so they could test it before going live. Now, we were also requesting them constantly for feedback. And obviously, for example, if we were just configuring new documents, they were giving us those templates and the templates that we had to use. So it was nothing that it was completely brand new for them on the go live date. However, to educate in the new processing, because obviously they were doing kind of different things on the previous platform. Obviously, we were helped by Inslee technical architects with conducting several or few. We were just doing a few training sessions that were particularly useful to get them involved in what was coming. Also, I could prepare a lot of materials in terms of writing down and illustrating the screens and and indicating the field that they had to choose for one line of business or others, or just to trigger some rules or others in the data form. And so the reality is that, obviously, after the go live, we had some calls, of course, because they were struggling to understand at some point what they had to do. But to be honest, it was far less than what we expected.
Great.
So in that sense, it went really well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I think that's always the most kind of cautious part of launching something new, right? Is how is it going to be received by other people within the company or the other users or things like that? So
one thing which I recall, for example, is that they were not, for example, when the system were just triggering or popping up an error message, they were not entirely familiar.
Yes.
Only me. And so I had to filter and explain them, no, that's because you are doing that and you should do that other thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously that's a normal process in any operating system.
I think it's a case of familiarity, right? It's,
Correct.
It's
correct.
like if I'm using Windows and then I change to a Mac.
Correct.
I'm going to be pressing the wrong keys and things like that.
Exactly.
So.
Once you get used to it, then it goes like any other platform. So it's nothing different. It's a matter of the first time that you are using something new, you are not entirely or 100% familiar with everything. Yeah. So you need to get a little bit of training, or someone helps you to get engaged and how to teach you how to use it, or whatever.
And the more you get used to it, the better you and the quicker you will get at actually using it as well. So I think
so that was part of my role also, is to make sure that they were understanding and they were using it properly.
Yeah.
So it went well. Now today,
great.
We don't have any issue with that.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And previously or earlier in our conversation, we mentioned that there are some things that automation can never kind of replace, right? And we said one of those things was relationships. So obviously within the kind of the relationship side of your business for Alta Signa, but also for other MGA companies as well, key thing obviously you've mentioned is time to market, and for new insurance products for the time that they go live as well. One relationship element is obviously kind of product distribution as well, and one of the biggest distributing kind of methods is obviously via brokers, right? So obviously the relationship is never going to be automated, but do you think that the relationships with themselves, with the brokers, they actually improved because you could probably you had more visibility, you could maybe share more information with them, and maybe it actually made that process a little bit faster as well. I don't know, but good to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's too early, I think, to respond about that specific question. Of course, one of our targets, and this is something that Gerard has on his vision, is just to enable the brokers directly to operate with our platform. So that's something that we haven't explored yet, but obviously is our thoughts, and it's in our vision. And in an ideal world, what we want is to let them or grant them access to the platform, and they can create through a broker portal their own quotes. That will be ideal. That's something we are willing to do in the near future or in the midterm. But what's more important for us is also access to carriers, not for them to do their own quotes, because they are not interested in that. Obviously, they are delegating the authority to us, so they are not going to do our job. But they want to know and track exactly how it's doing our portfolio, how it's the performance of our portfolio. And for that, we can make a difference if we have a good reportings and good dashboards and good, so that they can instantly or access online to the platform and see what they are doing or what we are doing. And how are we performing, and in which market segments or client segments are we more profitable? So this kind of stuff, because normally the people from carriers that are accessing to other systems they have an actuarial profile, actuarial background, and they want to measure exactly very specific things. And if we can provide them online, what they want, that will be a quick gain, and it would be obviously it will be great. It will make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
and also it saves. It saves a lot of back and forth emails and sharing information when you can just pick it from there.
Yeah,
it's like having an app in your mobile where you can access and see what's going on.
Yeah, just makes things a little bit quicker.
At least give the opportunity for them to use it.
Yeah, and I think it's even if it's not being done kind of as we speak, as long as you've already mentioned that you have it in your vision, which is great, and maybe you can share what else is on the kind of horizon as well for yourself and for Alta Signa. Maybe there's a few. I think you mentioned earlier on in the conversation as well that there's a few more kind of features and other things that you yourselves could do. And what does that kind of look like? Have you got a few things in mind? It seems like you do. So if you're open to sharing them, it would be good to hear.
That's a never-ending story. I mean, you always find things to be put in. Especially we need to explore definitely all this broker network environment.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that we are giving them the best connectivity they deserve or they want. And also we are thinking in new features and functions, especially on the workflow, meaning that, for example, if we can automate each time that, for example, we are creating a policy, all the documents can be automatically attached to an email and sent to the relevant people.
Yeah.
And the underwriter doesn't have to download it, copy it into an email, and then send it through to whoever. This kind of stuff, it will add a lot of value, because all of that are admin tasks that don't add a specific value. And if we can automate that through the platform, that's our intention.
Good.
That's our target. Also, in that market particularly, there are more complex rules in each of the binders that we are signing. And of course, each time that we are doing something, or we are exceeding limits, or we are just underwriting in jurisdictions that maybe are not within the binder, something like that, when we are breaching, because we are not breaching the terms of the contract, but when we are doing something that is not strictly aligned in the underwriting guidelines, then we need to trigger referrals.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we are starting to do in the platform, because if you are just producing a new business, and then you need to wait for me that I approve that, and then you need to physically come to my desk and say, oh, okay, this is the new risk that we are trying to underwrite, but I have these points that are not covered in the underwriting rules. What do you think? All of that. And I just can open the platform and see all the list of referrals that I've got there, and also with the main reasons that we are not fully aligned with the risk appetite of the company. And that will make the process much more efficient and quicker. Yeah. So these kind of things that are not strictly related with the activity of producing a piece of business, but with the management of the work, of the workload.
It's more like kind of an incremental improvement, right? So
right.
You start off on a baseline, and then the small things that
completely
you can do.
That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. So we are just starting with the basement and then adding other blocks on top.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are getting scale into the market, and we're generating more revenues, of course. And then it's like a circle. Each time that we are growing, we are needing new things, and new things are helping us to be even more efficient. So this is how it works, basically.
Great. No,
but we've got a lot of things. I mean, we need to also build an API layer, which can help us to get connected with the external world.
Yes.
We need to include new tools. Also, very important. We want. So we are already following or taking our decisions based on data.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that data comes out from the platform. But we are just accumulating a huge amount of information, a huge amount of data about our insureds. And through that integration with that service data provider that's known in the industry. And then at some point, we might want to do something else with that data. So we want to exploit it differently. And we want to find new niches or even new products. So at the moment...
Using that data, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, so we've got like a big asset within our database, and we need to exploit it further, of course. So all of these things take time, and it's not something we can deliver or we can roll out from one day to the other overnight. But we've got plenty of things in our vision that we would like to continue evolving and investing.
Absolutely, and that's really good to hear, right? You have a plan, or at least you have ideas of, number one, either where things can improve, number two, how to leverage what you already have, and number three, how to kind of grow past where you already are, right? You said the block building approach, and I think that's a very good way to put it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that sounds good. And then you also mentioned something about policies as well. And I know at the start of the conversation, you said that the decision was driven more by the business need and for a quicker time to market, for example. But you may or you may not have, I'm not sure, but worth me asking the question. From the time it takes to quoting and binding a policy, for example, on your old system versus your system now on Inslee, have you noticed like a shift in speed or like
absolutely
minutes, hours, seconds?
Absolutely, no, that's the underwriting process has been shortened significantly. Now we also have other tools embedded into the platform, such as, for example, the pricing tool, and the documents are produced into the platform. Previously, they were produced outside. So for them, it has been a quick gain because, of course, if you are just putting in the data in the data form and the document, code document and policy slip get automatically created, they don't have to spend time in just retyping again all the information. Yeah. That's a good gain. And similarly, with the risk analysis sheet that comes from that integration we have with this data service provider, and also with the pricing tool. So the pricing tool, it was something that we were managing through Excel spreadsheets. We are not doing that anymore because it's embedded into the platform. So these kind of things are making the underwriter's life much better. And so the underwriting process has been, it's more efficient right now than when it was. I cannot tell you a percentage, but it was much, it's quicker, definitely. Mm-hmm. Similarly, or similar to that, also in the claims module, because the claims module actually, it was just capturing the null data. Now we can do other things.
FNOL, yeah.
First notice of loss, the FNOL data. So when we had just, we receive a notification, we were just recording a few elements, nothing more than that. Now we've got a complete module that does everything.
Yeah.
And also it's linked to the accounting. And also it's linked to the reporting. So yeah, for example, also in the back office work, the borderos are already are automated, and we can just produce the written and settlement borderos and the claims bordero because they are there. So and still the integration, for example, it was also a quick gain because before that integration, the underwriters had to look for this information elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And now it's everything sitting in the platform. This is what we want. We want to have one single place where we can do everything and where it lies the source of the truth. And we are not having like the underwriting process scattered.
And they're not searching for things in different places.
But that's terrible. I mean, that's very inefficient.
Yeah, of course.
Also, the way the content management. So we were using SharePoint to store all the underwriting files, because they are a lot of documents that normally when we have an auditory and the auditor is just picking, let's say, 50 policies, and he goes normally one by one and search it and is checking that the documents are well filed, and that are relevant, and that the terms of the files are exactly the ones reflected into the platform. Now we can have those elements, or we can have those documents into the platform, which makes, again, it's a big gain, because we don't need to look for the documents in any other place.
You can find them directly.
You can find it directly, just expanding a panel.
Wow.
And it looks really good, to be honest. That was another quick gain. Yeah, a big gain. So, during the entire process, I cannot tell you. I mean, it has been saving 50% of the time, but
it's like noticeably quicker.
Significantly. Significantly.
Yeah, that's kind of the main thing, right?
And this is the kind of things we need to get some scale.
Yes.
Because
you can grow quicker if you can do things quicker, right? So.
Right. With the old model, one of the limitations we had is that it was not scalable. Yeah. And now we are prepared.
Completely. Yeah. Makes sense. That's really helpful to understand. And I think, having something that's all in one is very helpful, right? For whatever industry you're in. I just think it's massively helpful. Especially now that you kind of described what the underwriting process is like as well, and all of the different steps involved. I think that's really useful information. So thank you for sharing it. Alta Signa were in the news earlier this month as well. And the news was that you have launched a marine underwriting business. Yeah. So maybe you'd like to share a few words about that.
Yeah, the good news is that we are growing. That's the most important thing. And recently we have joined a wonderful and experienced team in that new business line. And they are based in Italy. They're all 6 people. And we are very excited to join Alta Signa because we are ultimately a big family. And we need to, of course, get some scale also with that line of business, but it's another speciality. Yeah, marine is very specific.
Yeah.
They've got like the expertise. And we have internally the tools, and we are very excited to have them on board.
Amazing. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, the fact that you're growing and obviously acquiring as well is really good news. I have one last question, but before that one, because I made a reference to it earlier, I just have to ask, mainly for myself because I'm very curious. Windows or Mac, what do you use? Or what's your preference?
Both of them.
Oh, both of them.
Both of them.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. In my mobile devices, I use Mac.
Yeah.
But at work, I use Windows.
You're kind of plugged in desktop.
Yeah, because we are using. I'm a Windows supporter, especially with the Office tools and things like that.
Yeah.
But Mac is, for me, it's more for mobile and tablets and things like that.
Yeah, easier user interface and interface.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I was just very curious. So both is always a good answer. The best of both worlds. Great. And then last question. So, quite a few of our customers and quite a lot of people within the market, they'll start their own MGA or underwriting agency, as they're known in Australia. you've been through the kind of the software procurement and the implementation process kind of from start to finish, or it's never really going to finish. It's always really going to be evolving. If there was someone who is either starting an MGA or starting to like kind of digitalize their processes, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, no, my advice would be obviously that they would consider Ainsley as a potential candidate to fit their business needs. Obviously, because Ainsley has a wealthy experience with MGAs and with platforms, and with the technology that lies behind is not something very costly, in the sense that it's very flexible. At least this is our experience.
Yeah.
So also a very important thing. It's very easy to work with, and the team is wonderful, nice people. You are not gonna have, or they would not have any problem in working with them. And yeah, I mean, I don't know the complexity of any potential company, but if
everyone has their own complexity.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that Ainsley can help, of course, to make the difference. And my personal experience has been very good. So
Nice.
I cannot say anything more than please try it.
Yeah.
At least.
No, that's really kind of you to say. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, I think that kind of concludes today's episode of Ainsley Insights. If you're watching this on YouTube, I haven't said this before, but I will say it now that we're on a roll and this is our second one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. It really helps us. Kind of grow the channel, and for us to interview more wonderful people like Alex from Alta Signa, and we will kind of carry on doing this around the world, and meeting up with more of our customers as well. So thank you for watching or listening, depending on what you're doing. And Alex, thank you very much. We're really grateful that you were able to take some time out of your busy day as CIO, and we look forward to working with you now and in the future. And we appreciate having you on. And thank you very much.
No, thank you so much for having me here. It has been a pleasure, and call me whatever you want.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.